Picture swashbuckling pirates splashing around barrels of crystal-clear water like drunken kings, washing faces freely. Hollywood has sold you this romantic fantasy for decades, showing sea wolves living like floating royalty. But here's the brutal reality that'll shatter every glamorous pirate dream you've ever entertained, completely. Most pirate crews weren't splashing water around like wasteful nobles. They were rationing every drop. One battered wooden cask often stood as the only barrier between 200 parched throats. And slow, agonizing death by thirst that could claim entire crews within days of empty barrels. Every single drop was rationed with military precision, counted like precious coins worth more than gold. The endless ocean stretched like a blue desert, mocking them with abundance they couldn't drink. The barrel became their shrinking oasis of survival, while the quartermaster's bell rang daily ritual. Life aboard pirate ships revolved around mathematics of survival, where every drop required apothecary precision. Crews developed strict rationing systems based on measured ladles, marked cups, and rigid distribution schedules. Tropical heat, constant physical labor, and salt spray created perfect storms of dehydration consuming hope. And each precious barrel had to outlast the week, stretching until favorable winds reached the next port. Pirates learned unforgiving rhythm, haul heavy ropes under scorching sun, receive measured sips of warm water, swallow it down like liquid sand barely wetting throats, then wait desperately for next bell rings. But even carefully controlled systems couldn't solve the fundamental problem that water was getting worse daily.
The water keeping pirates alive wasn't crystal clear liquid they'd loaded aboard in port weeks earlier.
Warm, stagnant water in wooden barrels developed bitter tannin bite from wood and green algae sheen. It became home to mysterious white creatures sailors called wigglers, tiny worms multiplying in darkness.
Smart crews stretched cloth over spigots to catch larger floating creatures before they reached drinking cups.
Ship's cooks dropped charcoal-filled cloth bags into barrels to sweeten the increasingly foul, revolting taste. Cooks joked about squirming additions being extra protein sent by Providence to keep crews strong. But cracked lips, splitting headaches, and constant decay taste weren't laughing matters for desperate men.
As crew morale soured with water supplies, experienced pirates knew they needed tighter distribution systems.
The foundation of pirate water survival was democratic principle, meaning difference between cooperation and bloody fighting. The equal bellies rule meant every man received exactly same water rations, from captain to scrubber. Quartermasters called names from crew rosters, while designated waterkeepers carefully dipped the measuring ladle precisely, making sure it never went past sediment lines where the worst contamination and creatures settled. Second crew members always watched measuring processes to ensure fairness, because favoritism could spark mutiny. Anyone caught palming extra sips faced docked future shares or harsher punishments, including flogging or marooning. Enforced fairness kept knives sheathed and prevented violence that could destroy crew unity during survival. When precious water supplies ran dangerously low, clever pirates discovered ways making every drop go further.
They learned cutting water rations with rum splashes to create grog, jog, not for pleasure drinking.
Because rum helped mask increasingly revolting stink while slowing bacterial spoilage that made supplies undrinkable.
When lucky enough to have vinegar or citrus, drops could sharpen flat-tasting water and settle stomachs.
Small beer could turn single water mouthfuls into something feeling like actual meals, providing hydration and calories. These weren't celebrations. They were sophisticated engineering solutions for maintaining crew morale under extreme conditions. Spirits rose temporarily with improvements, creating hope they could stretch supplies long enough for safety.
But endless, empty skies reminded them that without rain, even cleverness couldn't save them from death.
When storm clouds appeared on horizons, pirate crews transformed into precision water harvesting machines, impressing modern engineers.
They rigged scrubbed canvas into elaborate funnels, cleaned every rope channeling water, and positioned cloth filters. Grown men stood under lines with mouths open like seabirds, wringing soaked shirts into buckets, cheering at each cold gulp of fresh rainwater, tasting like liquid salvation after weeks of contamination. Entire crews worked in perfect coordination because single good storms could refill hope and supplies. But cruel ocean weather meant life-saving storms could miss ships by miles, leaving desperate watching. Walls of rain fell just out of reach, while they continued dying, surrounded by undrinkable seawater.
When water barrels dropped to dangerous levels, captains implemented emergency protocols, testing every man's discipline.
Short commons would be declared 6, meaning half rations, no seconds, and constant monitoring, preventing theft. Gambling future water rations became strictly forbidden, and night watches extended to protect casks from crews. Smuggled sips during off-hours transformed from minor rule-breaking into serious crew offenses, threatening everyone's survival.
Hunger made men mean and prone to fighting, but thirst made them genuinely dangerous destroyers.
Desperate, dehydrated pirates might kill shipmates for water access, turning survival into paranoia and violence nightmares.
Ancient pirate brotherhood codes had to prove worth against basic human self-preservation instincts during crisis.
Successful crews understood water management wasn't just rationing sex, it was comprehensive systems keeping supplies safe. Pirate articles included provisions promising equal access, making water theft crimes against entire crews rather than captains.
Ship's coopers became vital specialists, keeping barrel staves tight, bungs waxed, and containers sealed against contamination.
Meanwhile, cooks took responsibility for filtering, settling, and testing water quality, catching problems before spreading. Daily water muster at dawn became as important as other ship duties, with experienced members checking everything. Knocking barrel staves to listen for leaks, sniffing bungs detecting contamination, and tasting samples monitoring quality. They kept casks shaded from sunlight, stored off bilge avoiding seepage, and rotated oldest first preventing spoilage. Careful craftsmanship could buy precious extra days of survival, but supplies remained vulnerable to sudden disasters. Picture the nightmare. Critical water barrels suddenly developing cracks, precious fresh water bleeding across deck.
While desperate men watched their lifeline disappear into wooden planks beneath their feet during crisis. Emergency response had to be immediate and flawless to save whatever water they could from loss.
Practice drills became automatic, jam wedges stopping leaks, lash hoops, organized bucket brigades transferring remaining water. Whatever spilled on deck required quick vinegar treatment and charcoal socks, preventing contamination from spreading. Moving fast and working together perfectly, they might save half their supply and learn valuable lessons. But even successful disaster response left them with reduced supplies and 2 days before reaching land. In the end, pirates learned true wealth wasn't measured in chests of glittering Spanish gold treasure. Real treasure was clear, drinkable water that could be shared fairly among desperate men understanding cooperation.
Pirates survived endless blue desert oceans, not through swagger, heroics, or dramatic gestures against impossible odds.
They lived through careful systems, equal ladle portions, maintained casks, intelligent mixing.
The barrel holding their water might be small compared to endless surrounding ocean, but brotherhood mattered.
They built sharing systems around precious resources, making each drop go further than fear or selfishness.
The greatest treasure was knowing that when next water bells rang, Something remained to share with someone.